I don't know if you've noticed, but on other social media platforms, duets have become a thing. If you want to follow me on TikTok or Instagram, where I share these duets and other things that I don't post on YouTube, check out the links in the description. In today's video, I'm going to go over a bunch of different duets that I've composed, featuring different people across the internet that I found and wanted to play along with. I'll talk about my approach to these different compositions, and hopefully you'll learn something from it. But overall, it's just a really fun video, so I hope you enjoy it. The first duet here I have is from Cory Wong. He is encouraging us to play over these chords. Typical Cory Wong, incredibly groovy and in the pocket, so I'm going to try and complement this with some strumming of my own, different voicings to just really thicken up this rhythm section. Space is actually more funky than notes sometimes, so I'm going to try and match his articulations where he has these particular ghost notes and things like that to really dial in exactly what makes this groove so head-boppingly good. So let's go for it. As you can see, the chords here, we have F minor going to B flat 7, and then we have this cool little change here. This is actually a B flat minor 9 with a D flat in the bass, and then we have this C sus to C dominant 7, and that repeats a couple of times. So what I'm going to try and do is thicken those chords up, not just stick to like harmonizing with triads, but actually trying to build out some of these chords to, again, thicken up. Also paying attention to his accentuations and his ghost notes, where those articulations are, and trying to match those is really important. He has this groove going. Being right in the pocket with him, I think, is going to help. Then moving forward here, we have this B flat minor 9. I could play something like an approaching line. Something like that to kind of lock in still. You know, that kind of feels like a Cory Wong thing to do. The Mark Lettieri whammy thing is inspiring me now, so he's really on this bar a lot. Maybe I'll incorporate that. In full disclosure, I've already recorded all of these duets, so I'm just going to kind of move through here. So for the rest of the repeats on this chord section, I just did the same kind of thing, but moved the voicings up and, you know, adjusted a note here or there. So for this next chord over the F minor, I'm taking this minor 9 voicing that we used earlier and popping it up here. This part was kind of interesting because it clashes a little bit with the chords, but it, in context, sounds really nice. And we have, you know, pull the whammy back and up for one more. You know, that fits nice over the F minor, and then that actually sounds nice over the B flat. We highlight the bass root here, that D flat, and then we come down chromatically. At this point, we turn on the Cory Wong Postal Service. I'm using his Neural DSP plugin for this whole thing, by the way. I actually didn't use this guitar for this part or the next part. I used this one. And we have this little line. And we move on to the solo section where I come up to this F minor sound. And this is just coming out of the natural minor scale of F. This little line here is definitely worth stealing. This emphasis on the 9th here against F minor. It's a G. And from this point, I'm not trying to do anything very melodic. I'm actually trying to be more rhythmic with my lines here. So we're just going right down this Lydian scale. Get that little pickup switch in there. I like doing that in between notes. Kind of makes the note bloom a little differently. And then this is the point where all hell breaks loose. This is a whammy pedal. It makes the note go up any interval of notes. I'm going to choose an octave. Now you've heard this pedal popularized by somebody like Tom Morello, who tends to use it rhythmically. But what about using it during more significant passages of notes and at different times, not necessarily on the beat? What would happen? This is just the pentatonic scale, and we have this blues note, but the whammy pedal, you know, that just makes it way bluesier and raunchier, I think. Now this duet offering I appreciated because it had the BPM right there for me, and it was a sick metal riff. Now the first thing I had to do was put drums and bass over this thing. Now that we have that beautiful canvas to paint upon, it's time to bring out my best Guitar Center licks. Baby. And the next thing we go with is a little taparoo, something like that, just down the pentatonic sound. So after that, I think I just kind of went up this, you know, kind of just capping off the phrase. That was just great fun. I told you this video was fun. Let's move on to another duet. I found myself when I lost you. Most duetted guitar players, John Mayer comes in here with Wild Blue. He takes out his solo section and offers it up to us. Instead of going the traditional Dire Straits feel that is so tempting to do over this, I found this guitar tone. I mean, that is just a really cool tone and not something that you hear very often over this guitar solo section. Getting into the solo section, we have I just love the way that sounds, going from the G to the D. It sounds really nice, and then this little Hendrixy. The solo, I kind of just let it sit there. Lets you get a feel for the effect that I got. We move on to some bend. I just love the way this effect sounds with the bend. And then instead of kind of going up here for the Guitar Hero ending, I opted to go with something a little bit more thick and rich that this effect really complemented the rhythm that was going on. It was still kind of a lead part, but rhythmic as well. That's really nice. And then we come up to this F. And then I'm moving in some outside notes and just moving that up to G. And that's it. So really simple chords that I'm just sort of outlining with melodic intentions and rhythmic delivery, if that makes sense. And that's my duet with John Mayer.
Please duet this.
This next duet needs no explanation. When you're asked to please duet something, you say okay.
Please duet this.
Always asking me, how do you play doubles? This is it. Along with 1,000